Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking some time out of your first day of summer Saturday morning to be with us for this presentation. My name is Dan Tufford, and I've had the privilege of working with the dedicated team whose results we are presenting this morning. Before we start, let's take a moment to acknowledge that we are on the ancestral lands of the Nisqually and Squaxin Island tribes, who kept this land and its waters healthy and bountiful for more than 10,000 years, and who still live here. We heed the call to listen, to right past wrongs, to preserve this land for generations to come, and to build together a community where everyone feels welcome. I would like to acknowledge the hard work and assistance from many dedicated OI members shown here. Several of these team members wear more than one OI hat, and others will be putting on another OI hat at the conclusion of the endorsement work. Thanks to all of you. Just a few quick words about the endorsement process. We started in February and met weekly on Zoom, leading to now our presentation. In addition, all of us had to-dos for work to be done in between meetings. The focus of the work we are presenting today is for races for Port of Olympia, city councils for Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater, and school boards for Olympia, Tumwater, and North Thurston schools. With one exception, this is the first time OI is considering endorsements for city councils and school boards. The one exception is that 4 years ago, OI did endorsement work for Lacey City Council. That year, we had the unique opportunity to tip the balance of Lacey City Council toward the liberal and progressive direction. We were successful in that effort, and Lacey and the region have benefited from that outcome. Our work is guided by the OI mission and supporting core values as we develop questionnaires, questions for the Zoom interviews, and candidate assessments that you will hear about shortly. Olympia Indivisible has 21 specific core values that define who we are as an organization and serve as guideposts in key areas, one of which is the candidate endorsement process. The 21 specific values are logically grouped into the 8 areas you see here. You can see the full list on the OI website at the URL shown here. This slide and the next two show the races we worked on. Those candidates in bold black will be presented today and appear on the endorsement ballot you will receive later today. Those in gray will be on the official election ballot, either primary or general election, but are not considered for endorsement by Olympia Indivisible. The only races that will be on the August primary are those with 3 or more candidates. Port District 3, Olympia City Council positions 4, 6, and 7, Olympia School Board Districts 3 and 5, Tumwater School Board Districts 1 and 3. Those of us who do not live in these jurisdictions will not see any political races on our August ballot. In the November general election, you will get to vote on all port commissioner races, plus any city council and school board races in jurisdictions where you live. I say this to help make the distinction that the OI endorsement ballot is different. We are asking if you think OI should endorse a candidate as a way of helping focus our members and other community residents on where to direct campaign contributions and support to help those candidates get elected. You are welcome to vote for any candidate on the OI endorsement ballot. So we hope that what we have to say today is helpful for you when considering them from the OI perspective, regardless of where you live. There are reasons we did not consider some candidates for endorsement. We sent questionnaires to all candidates who filed for the Thurston County Elections Office and gave a deadline for returning the responses. Most of the candidates we eliminated from endorsement did not return the questionnaire. They may not have returned it for one or more reasons. Many because they are not philosophically aligned with OI, so have no desire to seek our endorsement. In a few races, we did not consider a candidate for endorsement because the race has only one candidate, so the outcome is already known. Campaign support is not needed from OI members. Before I turn this over to Mary Grubner to talk about Olympia School District, I just want to point out one more time that although we sent questionnaires to all candidates who filed, none of the candidates for North Thurston School District returned them. So this slide is the last you will see of North Thurston this morning. With that, here's Mary Grubner.
Hi, my name's Mary Grebner, and I'm here to talk about the Olympia School Board race. There are two positions open. They're from District 3, which is Boulevard Road, Yelm Highway area, and District 5, which is Evergreen State College, Mud Bay area, and neither of the incumbents are running. 3 candidates decided to run in each race, and 2 of each of those candidates sought OI endorsements. So these are the 4 candidates that we're presenting to you today. School board duties are very limited in scope and they're very education focused. So it's not possible to align to all of the OI values in these positions. All 4 candidates do align very closely with the OI education value, and that value overlaps a little bit with civil rights and human rights due to non-harassment and equality, etc. All 4 candidates align very closely with the OI governance value, and that's promising transparency and open and trusted communication and improved relationships within the board and with the community that they represent. All of these candidates are running for public office for the first time and have limited visibility. And all 4 have very similar campaign priorities: communication, good fiscal management, academic excellence, DEI concepts, and safe environments for all the kids. All 4 are very solid candidates. And the main issue confronting the Olympia School Board is budget related, and the school closure conversation and community reaction around that was foundational for these individuals who decided to run. Now I'm going to touch lightly upon the slides for each individual as you scan them and look at their backgrounds, and provide a few extra thoughts that distinguishes them from each other. And you'll notice that their careers are a good fit for their personalities and also color their approach to problem solving and communication. Next slide, please. So in District 3, we've got Brittany Johnson is one of the candidates. Brittany moved here from Iowa a few years ago and has 2 young children in the district. She and her husband looked for a place that reflected the values that they wanted to raise their children with, and they are very happy to be in Olympia. She's an interior designer, and she's very enthusiastic and collaborative, and has her problem-solving approach is very much about we can and will figure it out together, with a very strong emphasis on communication and working back and forth and developing consensus. Next slide, please. The key distinguishing characteristic of Brittany's campaign is that in addition to the other stuff, the transparency, accountability, and the fiscal health and the academic excellence, Brittany cares a lot about raising the awareness and importance of mental health and supports for mental health for kids in the district as well as staff. Next slide. Brittany's raised a decent chunk of money. She doesn't have any known endorsements yet on her website, but it does allow for people to do endorsements. And I'll talk a little bit more about viability in a minute. Next slide. Brittany's going up against Renee Fullerton, who moved here about a decade ago from Arizona, and she also has 2 young children in the district. Brittany's very calm and measured. She's a deep researcher. She's very analytical and thoughtful and very outcome focused. Next slide, please. And where her campaign differs from others is that partially because of her work, she's focused on collaboration with employers in the community and trying to find student pathways for students to get into careers or be exposed to careers that they like. She also talked a bit about helping students recover from the things that they lost during the pandemic and trying to recognize that this is a thing. And she's very focused on tech. She brought up artificial intelligence and working on a policy around that. Next slide. Brittany and Renee have raised approximately the same amount of money. Renee a little bit more than Brittany. Renee's landed some prized endorsements and may have more name recognition, in part due to the more public nature of the jobs that she has held. Her campaign viability is a little bit stronger than Brittany's at this time, largely because of those endorsements. Brittany's campaign kicked off a couple days ago, and Renee's will be later today. She's also like you're starting to see a few signs for Brittany around the neighborhoods. I haven't personally seen any for Renee yet, but she's kicking off later today. The other candidate in the race who did not seek OI endorsement is Ryan Smith. Ryan's a well-known in the community as a longtime pastor at 2 evangelical churches in Olympia. He's a realtor. He co-owns a few local small businesses. There's no known endorsements on his website yet, but there are a lot of yard signs out there for Ryan, and he is a prodigious fundraiser. He has raised twice as much as either Brittany or Ryan. He's got similar campaign themes about academic excellence and fiscal management. He doesn't really address DEI things, but the distinguishing campaign theme for Ryan is to get ideology and politics out of schools. Next slide. We're going to move to District 5. So in District 5, Emily Ledegy is a Thurston County prosecuting attorney. She moved here from Spokane a couple years ago. She's got one child in the district. And like Brittany, Emily looked long and hard to find a community and a school district that supported her values and matched how she wanted her child to be raised and educated. She's friendly and approachable. Because she's a lawyer, she pays a lot of attention to detail, and she places an emphasis on making sure people are all working from the same foundation, a lot of clarity and communication. She wants to build trust on the same foundation as, everybody else understands. Next slide, please. Emily's distinguishing characteristic about her campaign is that she's got a focus on special education and accessibility. So she's talks a little bit more about supports for those things and a little bit more understanding that each kid needs something different to thrive and not quite a cookie cutter. And next slide. Emily had her kickoff earlier this month, and she's doing pretty good in fundraising. District 5 isn't in general raising as much money as District 3. She's got some endorsements. They're largely former colleagues and community members. Next slide. Her opponent is Gilbert Lamont, and he moved to Olympia sometime before the pandemic, at least 5 years ago. He's got 2 young children in the Olympia School District. He's married to an educator, and he grew up in a military family, and he served in the military, and both of these things color how he approaches the issues that he's running on. Next slide. So Gilbert's demeanor is very measured and thoughtful, and he's a data analyst. So he relies a lot on data to sort of dive into the data and understand the issues and think about policy approaches. And then he wants to have the data inform him whether the policies are working or not. So his personality is a lot more like Renee's. The difference in his campaign is that he's very focused on empowering educators, and he's very focused on having parents have as few surprises as possible. He wants the decisions to be well thought out, communicated quite a ways in advance so that parents aren't like, oh my God, we're going to close your school in 3 months. But it's more of a runway if they do have to take very serious action about the budget. Next slide. Gilbert has not raised any money yet, but he's been out meeting with people and he's got a bunch of endorsements. His campaign kickoff will be next week, June 28th. In District 5, there's an additional candidate who did not seek OI endorsement, and his name is Jeremy Roos. Jeremy is the co-owner of Dead Center Cycles in Lacey. He's a volunteer on the Olympia School Justice and Equity Commission, and in the past, he served on the boards of Capital Bicycling Club and Black Hills FC. He doesn't have any known endorsements yet, but he's almost raised as much money as Emily, and his campaign priorities are very similar to the candidates that did seek OI endorsement. And like Renee, he also places an emphasis on pathways to employment for children and partnerships with businesses in the community. So that's my presentation for today. They're all good candidates, and now I'm going to hand it off to Morgan Baker, who's going to talk to you about the candidates for the Tumwater School Board. Thank you for showing up, and if you want more information, please go to our page because those interviews and their questionnaires were very well done. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. The Tumwater School Board candidates we're discussing today are, just like the candidates from the Olympia School Board, similar in their campaign platforms and goals. You will notice one particular through line with all 4 candidates, and that is their rejection of the current board's February vote to support the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association, or WIAA, proposed amendment to ban trans athletes from participating in girls' sports. Where these candidates align with OI values can be found at the intersections of education, human rights, civil rights, transparency, and accountability. And all 4 candidates we'll be discussing today possess these qualities. Next slide. Julie Watts is running for seat 1 on the Tumwater School Board. She holds a master's of social work from UW and is the current Deputy Director of Government Affairs at the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. She is a parent to 1 child in the district. Next slide. Julie is, like all of the candidates we interviewed, strongly opposed to the board's February vote to support a now dead proposal by the WIAA that would have restricted trans athletes from playing girls' sports. Julie supports the district's decision to utilize administrative furlough days to relieve the budget shortfall, but does not support the district's decision to cut paraprofessionals from the classroom. She would like to see district policies based around targeted universalism, which sets a baseline all students should achieve and tailors the path to success based on unique student needs. She is also in favor of increased communication between the board, students, and teachers. Next slide, please. Julie has excellent viability as a candidate. She has outraised both opponents thus far and is endorsed by prominent state and community leaders. Next slide, please. Daniel Mees is running for seat 3 on the Tumwater School Board. He holds a bachelor's from Evergreen State and a master's from the University of Arizona. Daniel has experience as a child support enforcement officer and has been enlisted to train staff at the state level as a de-escalation instructor. He is a parent to 3, soon to be 4 students in the district. Next slide. Daniel supports having hard conversations about community concerns. He is also in favor of leaning on the teachers union for budget recommendations regarding staff. He, like all of our interviewed candidates, was in strong opposition to the February vote by the board to support the WIAA amendment regarding gender identity in sports. And he believes in inclusivity for all students. He cites a disparity between schools throughout the district and would work to create better continuity. Next slide, please. Daniel is a candidate with low to medium viability. He is active on Reddit and Facebook, but is refusing on principle to accept donations. He seeks a campaign based on word of mouth. His opponents include a sitting board member who voted in favor of the proposed WIAA amendment and another opponent who stands in stark opposition to OI values. No candidate for seat 3 has raised any funds. Next slide, please. Melissa Detterman-Beard is running to keep seat 4 on the Tumwater School Board. She's a current board member and was the lone no vote regarding the WIAA amendment. And she expressed to us that she knew that that no vote could cost her her seat, but did it anyway because she felt it was right. She holds a master's in policy analysis and evaluation from Stanford and a PhD in educational leadership and policy from UW. She was elected president-elect of the Washington State School Directors Association in 2024. Next slide. Melissa has, during her 9 years on the board, been a proponent of student voices. Student agendas have been increasingly centered during her tenure, and she believes students should learn early to advocate for themselves and their needs at the building level. Melissa supports universal design for learning, ensuring better outcomes for all students by reducing barriers and increasing positive outcomes. She supports inclusivity as well as hearing all community voices. Next slide, please. Melissa's candidate viability is also excellent. She is well endorsed by many state and local leaders. She has name recognition in the district. She has amassed significant funds, and her opponent has raised none. Next slide. Mike McGowan is running for seat 5 on the Tumwater School Board. Mike holds a bachelor's in political science from the State University of New York at Buffalo, and he served on the Yelm City Council for 9 years, residing upon moving out of the district. He has nearly 3 decades of experience at the Yelm branch of the Timberland Library, and he is versed in fundraising, and levy lifts. He is an active grandfather to 2 students within the district and dotes on them very heavily. Next slide. Mike believes strongly in transparency and cited the inaccessibility of the district's budget to average people as something that can be improved upon. He also cited the district's decision to move a meeting to Little Rock as another problem with accessibility. He is a proponent of inclusivity and, like all of our interviewed candidates, does not support the board's vote that endorsed the proposed WIAA amendment regarding trans student athletes. He has experience with material challenges, which in other districts have led to material bans, and is an advocate for improved communication between students, teachers, community members, and the board. Next slide, please. Mike's viability is medium to good. Mike has not raised any funds, but neither has his opponent. He does have an active website, while his opponent's Facebook and website are both incomplete. He has some name recognition due to his time spent on the Yelm City Council. And now I will pass it to Ed Steinweg for Olympia City Council candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. Good morning. My name is Ed Steinweg, and I will be presenting the Olympia City Council races for the candidates who returned our questionnaires and who have opposition in their races. Edie Harding and I worked on the Ole City Council research. Olympia City Council has 7 members, and they serve 4-year staggered terms. This year, positions 4, 5, 6, and 7 are up for election. Position 5 has only 1 candidate, Kelly Green, and she is an unopposed incumbent, so that race will not be covered in this presentation. I would consider Ms. Green an excellent council member and candidate. The 6 candidates we will present are similar in their philosophy and policy positions and may be best differentiated by viewing the side-by-side interviews Edie and I did for the positions 6 and 7 candidates. Those interviews are posted on the OI website. Unfortunately, because of time constraints, we were not able to offer a Zoom interview to Clark Gilman in position 4. All of the candidates who returned our questionnaire for their positions showed significant alignment with OI core values and no misalignment. All of the candidates state they support the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, the Deschutes Estuary Project, and Olympia as a sanctuary city. Next slide, please. Our first candidate is Clark Gilman. He is the only candidate in the race for position 4 who returned our questionnaire, and he has 2 opponents. Mr. Gilman presently is serving in position 4 and was first appointed in 2016 to the City Council and then elected and re-elected in 2017 and 2021, respectively. He is a strong union supporter and was in a leadership position with the Carpenters Union for 13 years, managing a staff and multi-million-dollar budget. As shown, he serves on a number of important City Council committees. Next slide, please. Regarding priorities, Mr. Gilman describes himself as a servant leader who listens to and supports city employees and advisory boards. He is passionate about the environment and racial and economic justice and lists his core values as trust, cooperation, honesty, and respect. Next slide, please. Mr. Gilman's viability is excellent given his name recognition and his 2 successful previous campaigns. He has fairly good campaign fundraising. He does have 2 opponents who did not return our questionnaire, one of which has notable fundraising and may present a significant challenge. Next slide, please. Moving on to position 6, our first candidate is Darlene Simpkins, who is engaged in her first election campaign. Darlene's roots go back to West Virginia, but she has been in Olympia for 30 years and worked in state government for 27 years. She has worked in budget analysis and policy and is presently a business insight analyst at the Washington State Department of Parks and Recreation. She finds time to be engaged in many volunteer organizations. Next slide, please. Concerning her priorities, Ms. Simpkins states she has canvassed local businesses to gain insight into their needs from city government in order to create a thriving downtown. She advocates for affordable housing and support for those unhoused. Ms. Simpkins has strong feelings and ideas about compassionate policing, supporting the police in avenues that emphasize community engagement, and avoiding militarism. Next slide, please. Regarding viability, Ms. Simpkins is facing opponents with name recognition, endorsement, and fundraising skills. Despite her strong credentials, her lack of these elements will be a detriment. Next slide, please. Our next position 6 candidate is Justin Stang. Mr. Stang is running for City Council for the first time and has not held a prior elected position. After working for 10 years at Hamma Hamma Shellfish, Mr. Stang moved this year to become a policy analyst for Pacific Coast Shellfish Growers Association. He is a registered lobbyist for the association. Next slide, please. Mr. Stang's stated policies are to achieve a balanced budget by increasing revenue and scrutinizing expenditures. He feels strongly about making Olympia more affordable through reforms in costs for housing, childcare, insurance, and utilities. He has experience of initially being a renter and then becoming a homeowner and finally a landlord. Mr. Stang feels that Olympians deserve to feel safe in their community, and he would like to see more citizen participation in the community. Next slide, please. Mr. Stang has excellent fundraising compared to his opponents, and he has a number of endorsements, including some prominent elected officials and a union. He doesn't have experience running an election campaign and doesn't have the name recognition of some other candidates. I'd rate his viability as good. Next slide, please. Our last candidate for position 6 is Robert Vanderpool. Mr. Vanderpool is the present position 6 City Council member, having been appointed in January 2024, and he serves on a number of important committees. Mr. Vanderpool's educational track focused on urban planning and community centers. This is his first election campaign for the seat he holds. He's employed at the Washington State Department of Labor and Industries and Support Services. He's a proud union member and describes himself as loving public service and policy, but not politics. Next slide, please. Regarding priorities, Mr. Vanderpool wants to address what he calls an affordability crisis that involves incomes, housing, transportation, and other local systems. He also prioritizes addressing the climate crisis by reducing our carbon footprint and the creation of walkable urban centers. Mr. Vanderpool embraces DEI as a progressive means of creating a better community. Next slide, please. Mr. Vanderpool has many endorsements from unions, organizations, numerous elected officials, and multiple other individuals. He has had fairly good success at fundraising and enjoys name recognition by virtue of being the incumbent. I'd rate his viability as excellent. Next slide, please. Moving on to position 7, we have 2 candidates to consider. First up is Paul Behrendt. Although never holding an elected office, Mr. Behrendt has considerable experience in politics, having been the chair of the Washington State Democratic Party for 11 years. He developed relationships with many high-profile Democrats in Washington State and states that he gained organizational skills working on progressive causes. After leaving that job, Mr. Behrendt worked for 17 years for a Seattle-based communication and positioning firm as a consultant. He retired 1 year ago. Next slide, please. As priorities, Mr. Behrendt lists first his support for parks and parks programs, including the expansion of parks and open spaces. Tackling a difficult topic, Mr. Behrendt wants to become an advocate for social services, especially related to homelessness. He references affordable housing as a critical component of this effort. Mr. Behrendt also wants to support the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, and he cites climate-sensitive improvements he would like to see to roads, sidewalks, and community transit. Next slide. Mr. Barrett has amassed a large number of endorsements, many from very prominent elected officials. He has raised more money for his campaign than any other candidate in any of the city council races thus far. Mr. Barrett has canvassed more than 2,700 households thus far in his efforts. I would rate his viability as excellent. Next slide. Our next candidate for position 7 is Caleb Geiger. Mr. Geiger is an attorney employed in the office of the Washington State Attorney General in the General Licensing and Administrative Law Division. He grew up near Bellingham and has lived in Olympia for 2 years. He states he wants to ensure that Olympia is a place where everyone can thrive. To this end, he would focus on regulatory reform, coalition building, and policy innovations. Next slide. Mr. Geiger lists as his first priority livability. He wants to enhance Olympia's quality of life with policies that focus on affordable housing and better paying incomes, and transit improvements to ease public financial burden. He would address his second priority, resilience, by preparing for further climate change with investments in infrastructure that reduce our carbon footprint, and he believes that much of this can be achieved through municipal policy. Mr. Geiger strongly supports DEI initiatives as opportunity for all, and he believes that municipal policy plays a role in his support through tenant protection and equitable delivery of city services. Next slide. Mr. Geiger has endorsement from a handful of elected officials. He has had notable fundraising but lacks elected experience and name recognition, and I would rate his viability as good. Before I turn the presentation over to Catherine Walton Elliott, I would encourage any viewers who are still wondering who to vote for in this array of excellent candidates to view the side-by-side interviews that Edie Harding and I did for positions 6 and 7. Now on to Catherine and the Tumwater City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. My name is Catherine Walton Elliott, and I will be presenting on the Tumwater City Council races. Rachel Jackson and I worked together on researching these candidates. Our first candidate is Rochelle Martin. She is running for position 5 on the Tumwater City Council. Rochelle is a mother, community organizer, and works for the Department of Health. She has experience as a library paraprofessional and operations supervisor as well. She's a longtime delegate to the Thurston Lewis Mason Central Labor Council. She currently serves as president there. She's also a state certified mediator and president at Cascadia Now, an incubator for community-centered projects. She has municipal experience from serving on Olympia's Social Justice and Equity Commission and co-authoring the Olympia Workers' Bill of Rights proposal. And she just received her MPA from Evergreen State College. Next, please. Rochelle is running to address the Olympia Brewery site, support emergency preparedness, build community cohesion, and collaborate with workers and small businesses on responsible development. She is supportive of housing as a human right. She'd like to see the development of mixed-use, high-density housing, and she'd like to see robust social services, including subsidized, accessible childcare. She is supportive of a well-resourced Parks and Rec department and infrastructure that supports walkability and small businesses. She also believes that the City Council should be transparent and accessible, including demonstrating progress on the climate mitigation plan. Next, please. Rochelle's positions and actions align well with most OI core values. Through her union leadership, work on Olympia's Social Justice and Equity Commission, and her Cascadia Now presidency, she shows particularly good evidence for alignment with economy, community, human rights, and civil rights values. Next, please. Rochelle has experience across government sectors as both a professional and a community organizer in the state. She's endorsed by Olympia City Council member Robert Vanderpool and has launched an effective website. On the other hand, campaign dollars were zero as of June 19th, and her opponent has been unanimously endorsed by the current Tumwater City Council. So I would say her campaign viability is middling. Her opponent, Megan Sullivan, didn't return the OI questionnaire, so is not being considered here for endorsement. Next, please. We'll now turn to this Tumwater City mayor's race. Our first candidate is Lance Brinder. Lance describes himself as a moderate conservative. He's originally from Kashmir, Washington, and moved to Tumwater in 2017. A father, a small business owner, and a recently retired Army officer, he holds multiple degrees, including a Master's of Military Arts and Sciences. Lance has over 20 years of volunteer leadership experience, including with faith-based groups providing services for unhoused individuals and the Cascadia Conservation District. Next, please. Lance is running to address affordable housing and the Olympia Brewery site. He also wants to increase police funding and staffing, establish heritage tree protection, and improve city government responsiveness. He favors incentives as a tool to do these things. He wants to partner with local NGOs and faith-based institutions to provide services for unhoused individuals, and with interjurisdictional groups to work on governance and events. When asked about providing sanctuary for immigrants and racial disparities in policing, he did not share any policy or operational change proposals, noting that law-abiding individuals are welcome in Tumwater. During his OI interview, he also shared his position that trans individuals do not need governmental protections. Next, please. Some of Lance's positions appear to align partly with some OI core values. He aims to increase government responsiveness, address affordable housing, increase services for unhoused individuals, stimulate local development, and protect heritage trees. His volunteer services support many of these positions. Some of Lance's other positions do not align with OI's core values. When asked about racial disparities, trans rights, and immigrant safety, he consistently did not acknowledge systemic oppression and referred instead to the need for individuals to be law-abiding and to follow current regulations. He also supports bringing commuter flights to Tumwater. Lance's alignment with OI's core values is mixed. Next, please. Lance doesn't appear to have run for elected office before. He may have name recognition in Christian and Army networks. His website, however, is effective and features multiple selfies taken with community members, so he is getting out there in the community. No endorsements are listed on his campaign website as yet, and he has raised significantly fewer funds than his opponent. So I'd say his campaign viability is fairly middling. Next slide, please. Our other candidate for mayor is Leata Dahlhoff. Leata has served on the Tumwater City Council since 2018 and is currently mayor pro tem. She's a graduate of Tumwater High School and the University of Puget Sound, and she now works for the Department of Commerce. She has broad volunteer experience in local organizational membership, including with the Thurston County League of Women Voters and Homes First, among many, many others. Next, please. Leata is running to prioritize responding to constituents, solve infrastructure challenges, strengthen public health and safety, and manage growth responsibly. Her goal is to build a welcoming, accessible community. Her work as a council member supports her platform. She contributed to the formation of the Regional Housing Council and served on the Thurston County Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Advisory Board, which focuses on community-based community-based case management and alternatives to prosecution. Next, please. Leata's words and actions align strongly with most OI core values. She has especially strong alignment on environmental and civil rights values. For example, she helped develop Resolution R2024-015, which affirmed the Council's commitment to dignity and the protection of civil rights and standing against hate, bigotry, and discrimination. She supports enforcing environmental codes and implementing climate adaptation and mitigation plans. Next, please. Leata has served for many years on the Tumwater City Council. She has name recognition, strong networks, and an understanding of the mayor's role. Her campaign likely benefits from her extensive volunteer network as well. She has excellent endorsements and fundraising. She's endorsed by Tumwater Council members, local mayors, legislators, and, at the state and federal levels, unions, and the Thurston County Democratic Women, among many others. She's raised significantly more than other candidates, primarily from individuals. And her campaign viability, I would say, is excellent. And now I'll pass to Dennis Stambaugh to talk about the Lacey City Council candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. So the first candidate for Lacey City Council, position 4, is Maren Turner. She has a PhD from the University of Kansas. She is currently Chief of Home and Community Programs for Washington State Department of Social and Health Services. She was Kansas State AARP Director for 30 years. She's a member of the End of Life Doula Association. She's active with the Thurston County League of Women Voters. Next slide. She supports affordable housing to include universal design elements. She has advocated for seniors and is concerned for senior citizens. She supports small businesses and recruiting small businesses. She is a former small business owner. She wants to improve broadband access, to work with the Port of Olympia. She supports the Thurston County Climate Mitigation Plan, and she supports Lacey becoming a sanctuary city for immigrants. Next slide. So her alignment with Olympia Indivisible core values, she supports affordable housing, access to healthcare, protecting the vulnerable, supporting small businesses and living wage jobs, and protecting the environment. Next slide. For her viability, she is a first-time candidate, but she has joined campaign forces with two-time incumbent Carolyn Cox. Her website and her campaign fundraising look good so far. She has numerous high-level endorsements, including Beth Dolio, Lisa Parsley, and many others. Her opposition so far has not mounted any sort of a campaign. Next slide. So the next candidate is for City Council Position 6, Ryan Sue. He studied political science at Western Washington, grew up near Puyallup, moved to Lacey in 2018. He was a Peace Corps volunteer in Bulgaria, and he taught English in China. He is a current executive committee member of NAACP of Thurston County, and he works for the Washington State Office of Public Defense. Next slide, please.
Ryan.
He would like to see more affordable housing through tax incentives, improved transportation infrastructure that gives people an option other than driving their car everywhere. He supports small businesses and attracting small businesses, and is a former small business owner. He supports Lacey becoming a sanctuary city and supports the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. Next slide, please. So in alignment with Olympia Indivisible core values, he supports affordable housing, government transparency, climate change mitigation efforts, and climate equity, improved educational opportunities that would lead to living wage jobs. And he is a strong supporter of DEI. Next page. So for his viability, he also is a first-time candidate, but also has joined forces with two-time incumbent Carolyn Cox. His website and his campaign fundraising look good so far. He also has numerous high-level endorsements and lower-level endorsements, many endorsements. And his opposition has not raised any sort of a campaign so far. Next slide. And here we have Carolyn Cox, who is running for position 7. She is a two-term incumbent. She was raised in Florida, moved to Thurston County in 1992 and to Lacey in 2001. She has served on many local agencies and currently serves on many. And she's a founding member of the new Thurston NAACP chapter. Next page, please. So she is currently working on ensuring housing is available for all income levels, developing solutions for the homelessness. She would like to address climate change by reducing the carbon footprint of our residents. She supports the upcoming vote for a metropolitan park district. And she doesn't see a need for Lacey to become a sanctuary city because Washington is a sanctuary state. Next slide, please. In alignment with Olympia Indivisible core values, she is a strong supporter of Lacey's Commission on Equity and the new Thurston NAACP chapter. She is actively involved in regional climate and environmental organizations and in regional housing organizations, and she assisted in the adoption of improved city DEIB policy. Next slide, please. As far as viability, she will be a formidable candidate. She is a two-time incumbent. She has good name recognition in the community. She has good fundraising and organization so far. She has very extensive endorsements that include high-level endorsements like Marilyn Strickland and Denny Heck and Jessica Bateman. And her opposition has not raised any sort of a campaign so far, has done nothing. So with that, I will turn it over to John Cezanne to talk about the port.
Thanks, Dennis. Now let's look at the candidates for Port of Olympia Commissioner. The District 4 candidate is Joel Hansen, and he is running unopposed, so he will not be evaluated here. There are two candidates running for District 2 Port Commissioner, Bob Isle and Jerry Toompas. Bob Isle is the current incumbent Port Commissioner for District 2, and he is running for re-election for another 4-year term. Bob was born and raised here and is a member of the Nisqually tribe. After graduating from Tumwater High School, he went back to work in the construction trades and became a member of the Bricklayers and Allied Craftsmen Union. After his retirement from the construction industry, he went back to school and earned an MBA from WSU. He was subsequently appointed Chief Executive Officer for the Nisqually Tribe's business entity, the Medicine Creek Industries. Next. Mr. Isle supports the continuation of log shipping at the marine terminal. He supports the adoption of the airport master plan update, which would likely lead to increased air traffic at the airport. And he has voted in favor of the Panettone Warehouse project and the Swire Coca-Cola 75-year lease. When asked about his vision for the future of the Port Peninsula, he has been unwilling to state a position. Next. Mr. Isle does not align with some of the Olympia Indivisible core values. He has voted in support of several port projects that will have negative environmental and health impacts, such as the Panettone warehouses and the Swire lease. These have all been opposed by Olympia Indivisible's Port of Olympia action team. Additionally, he is open to extending the Weyerhaeuser log shipping operations beyond the expiration of its lease on the Port Peninsula in 2032. Next. However, his viability as a candidate is excellent. He has the advantage of being the incumbent and the name recognition that comes with incumbency. Next. Bob Isle's opponent is Jerry Toompas. Jerry is a Yelm native and a current Yelm resident with his spouse, Kate, and their 8 children. He is a special ed teacher in the local schools. He also has a master's degree in business administration from Western Governors University. His wife, Kate, is the current chairperson for the Thurston County Dems. Next. Mr. Toompas would like the port to become more active with rural Thurston County. He has stated that he supports the closure of the log export operation at the marine terminal, and he opposes the adoption of the airport master plan update. He claims to be a champion of the environment. Next. Jerry appears to be in alignment with OI core values. His priorities include championing the environment, fostering economic justice, ensuring transparency and community engagement in government. Next. Jerry is a viable candidate. He should have strong support from the Thurston County Dems, and he is well known in District 2, having previously run for office. Next. The District 3 candidates are Krog Unsold, Anthony Hempstead, and Rebecca Faust. We're not considering Rebecca Faust due to her Republican Party affiliation. Next slide. Anthony Hempstead was born and raised in Olympia, the son of well-known Republican Senator Dick Hempstead. He earned an MBA from the University of Chicago and a master's degree in Asian Studies from the University of London. He has worked on public policy on the local, national, and international levels. He served as city manager for Maple Valley. For the past 10 years, he has worked as a registered lobbyist for both public and private entities. Additionally, he serves as a member of the POCAC, the Port of Olympia Citizens Advisory Committee. Next slide. While dubious about the continuation of the log export operation at the marine terminal, when pressed on the issue, Anthony would not commit to termination of the Weyerhaeuser log operations when the lease expires in 2032. He believes that he can use his knowledge of international trade to attract more investment to the port's marine terminal. He is very bullish on the effort to bring electric foil ferries to the port for water transportation to Tacoma, SeaTac, and Seattle. While he was not enthusiastic about much of the airport master plan update, he would vote to approve it. And he is supportive of the Panattoni development in the New Market industrial area. And he would push for solar panels to be installed on commercial roofs. Next. Mr. Hempstead is generally aligned with OI core values, but seems to prioritize economic development over environmental considerations. Next slide. Anthony is in a very strong position to compete for Port Commissioner. He has already raised over $12,000, and he has secured many significant endorsements, including all of the current Port Commissioners and many well-known politicians, such as Marilyn Strickland, Dave Upthegrove, Chris Ragdell, and J.T. Wilcox. Next slide. Krog Unsold is a local native and is the son of former congressperson from Olympia, Jolene Unsold. Krog holds a BA from Evergreen College, a master's degree from MIT in city planning, and received a teacher certification from St. Martin's College. Krog has been a longtime community activist focusing on environmental sustainability. He served for several years as the environmental planner for the Puget Sound Water Quality Action Team. He also is a senior research analyst for the Public Disputes Network at Harvard. As an educator, Krog developed alternative programs for troubled youth in his role as an institutional administrator for Mason County. Next slide. Mr. Unsold opposes the Swire lease, the Panattoni warehouse projects, and the adoption of that airport master plan update. He supports the closure of the log export operations at the marine terminal as soon as possible. He proposes a public park be created where the logs are currently stored on the Port Peninsula, and he strongly advocates for a science-based approach to habitat restoration of Butt Inlet. Next. Krog has demonstrated a strong commitment to all the OI core values with an emphasis on those associated with the environment, transparency in government, and equity and inclusion. In his candidate statement, Krog says, quote, "We need to adopt standards for low impact development to control stormwater and to prevent flooding. We need to coordinate our seaport, airport, and real estate operations with local planning efforts and listen to our constituents." Next slide. Krog is a viable candidate. He's currently behind Mr. Hempstead in fundraising and endorsements, but he got a much later start, only deciding to run at the filing deadline. He is beginning to put a good campaign into operation and has name recognition due to his family lineage. That concludes the candidates' profiles. Back to you, Dan.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. We are running just a little bit long, but I'd like to answer 2 or 3 questions if we have them. Jackie, do we have any questions?
We have a few questions. People seem a little confused about on the OI ballot. Are they really supposed to vote for people that are outside their district? You know, if they're not living in Tumwater, are they supposed to also be voting for the Tumwater candidates on our OI ballot?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. So you don't have to vote for anybody, and you can vote for anybody you choose. We understand that you don't live in many of the jurisdictions that for the candidates that are on the ballot, but this endorsement vote is about who OI should support organizationally. Which is very different from the ballot that you'll see either during the primary or in the November general election. Anything else?
And then there was a question from on the school board is they're concerned about Christian right being for school board positions. And is there any group working on this issue?
Working to
about opposing the Christian right.
There is an organization called Stop Moms for Liberty, which is very active on that front, and so yeah, I would, if you're interested in that particular issue, I would strongly encourage you to contact them. I know that Lisa Ornstein is very active with that group as well. You might contact her personally if you want to find out more about that. Next question.
And then there's a question about, is there a process for doing a write-in for Megan Sullivan for Tumwater City Council in the endorsement process?
Not in the OI endorsement ballot.
And I think that's all the questions that came through.
Excellent. Thank you very much.